Alrighty, we are live. Baloo coming to us from a brand new location.
Hollywood, baby, today?
Hollywood.
I'm not actually in Hollywood. I'm in the suburbs of Los Angeles, which is better than being in LA proper. But it's nice, I'm still recovering from jet lag and just working on getting my new routine. So.
Very good. Very good. It's a very, very interesting location you're in. Couldn't be contrasting more with mine.
Yeah.
But let's see if our opinions are also contrasting. Now, the title I've put on this video, people, you might accuse me of it being clickbaity. I can assure you it's not. Today, we're going to obviously discuss, is it too late to be entering this market? Our thoughts on potential sort of exit strategies for this cycle. And to completely contradict myself, I've also thrown in some low caps that I think might have potential to at least 10x for the latter stages of the cycle. But Baloo, I'm going to hand it over to you now, because obviously picking where we're at in the cycle is going to be the difference for most people between walking away very, very happy or having a very, very miserable bear market. And as someone that's been in the space for going on for 6-7 years now, I have experienced these cycles. I do understand that I'm not a genius. A lot of people do think they are geniuses during a bull market, and I'm seeing and hearing that from a lot of people right now, and that concerns me. So where shall we start, sir? Should we have a look at the bigger picture of what's going on in the market, and then sort of move into a conversation about our thoughts on, is it too late to be buying, trading, exit strategies, etc.? So over to you, sir.
Yeah, so I'm just going to pull up the Bitcoin logarithmic growth chart here. Let me share my screen. Right here. And this is a great chart to reference when you're trying to identify where you are in a market cycle. Can you see that all right?
Yep, got it.
Wanted to make sure. And basically, I've got this rainbow color logarithmic growth curve where the top of the channel is typically an overbought market environment where we're approaching some sort of plateau or top. Blow off top seems to be the most common that we see thus far. And then at the bottom is kind of that really low range accumulation zones, or what we refer to as the bear market, the depths of the bear market. And then there's this area in between where it's the bull market. You have the bull market in between. Now, it's important to realize that fundamentals and price are completely different things. They are so divergent from one another. You can't correlate value and price appreciation with innovation and consistent development, because it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
We're in a volatile asset class. We're in a very volatile asset class. What that means is that there is plenty of upside opportunity as well as plenty of downside possibility. And it's important to realize that the people that were buying or positioning their portfolio in the lower end of the growth curves are in a much better place in the mid and to the high end of the growth curve. Life-changing money is basically what I'm getting at. If you were accumulating crypto in this kind of area at the lower end of the band, or even anywhere below the lower third of this whole Fibonacci growth curve, you're in a very good place and you have life-changing money sitting on the table. There's an asymmetry to these markets where most of the people pile in at the end when it's highest hype, when there's the most innovation, when there's the highest amount of momentum in the space. And they pile in because if they don't go now, they're going to miss it. And this is also the point at which things get really volatile for the people that bought down in this area. So they'll, like, I kid you not, you'll have certain portfolios that are in the multi-millions, and then all of a sudden they're down to 1 million, and then they go back up to 3 million, and it's just like, it's nuts. So they don't want to become a participant in that type of volatility. So the next opportunity they see to cash out, they do. They lower their exposure because the volatility is just too intense, and the money that's available is just too high. It changes their life, and you can't change your life until you realize those gains. So do I think that it is a bad time to buy in the market? Well, typically speaking, you don't want to be buying above the midpoint. You want to be buying below the midpoint of this cycle. So where we are right now, although it is not ideal, it could be worse. And as this market progresses, as I think we are going to reach some higher levels, I think we are going to maintain a bullish structure to the upside. We'll probably have this discussion again where we'll say, hey, is it too late? I'm thinking if you are going to become a participant, it's now or never. And, that's not an invitation we're not guaranteeing anything here on the channel. We can't look into the future. This is just probabilities and statistics. And based on the probabilities and statistics, I could see higher price appreciation, and we're just above the midpoint. So I think that we're going to experience a very exciting point in the market. And if you don't go in with the right mindset to take some profits, at a minimum, have a plan to at least take your initial investment out. Yeah. If you don't have that mindset, you're going to watch a fortune amass and watch it all go away and go below your entry and enter into a bear market for multiple years, where there will be countless reasons why your investment is really, really poor, and you'll be convinced that you made a bad decision and you'll sell at the wrong time. So we're entering the highest emotional state of the market cycle. Euphoria, fear, greed and fear are going to be intense. We're going to have huge rallies, huge reactions. And it's just going to be really hard to stay level-headed. So that type of emotional environment is not good for a new investor, full stop. So like from an emotional point of view, do I think you're too late? I think you are too late in the sense that you're going to be really able to focus and control your emotions to make the right decisions. It's not to say that you can't participate, and it's not to say that the mistakes that you may or may not make can be beneficial to you. But what it is saying is just, we're not at the ideal time to be buying. We're at the exciting and high momentum time, but it's also a huge roller coaster of your emotions as well. So you need to be very surgical with your approach. And there's a lot of culture inside of crypto that's just like, ape in, hodl. That will work in the short term, and then it will be your worst enemy in the long term. If what you want from this market is more dollars, then you need to really be careful.
Yeah, very well said. So what I'm kind of hearing there is that the emotion to be in control of for this latter part of the cycle is effectively greed.
Pretty much. Yep. It's going to be greed. And then there's going to be a ton of volatility as profits are taken. And when those profits are taken, they're going to trigger liquidation events, because greed often comes with high amounts of leverage, which we have abundance of leverage in the system.
Correct. Now, I am in some leverage trades. We'll look at those charts in a moment. But could you explain to the audience, when you talk about we were talking offline about liquidity. Typically I trade Ethereum and Bitcoin on Bybit. That's a very liquid book, in my opinion. They've launched a whole heap of other pairs now. It's also, in my opinion, a pretty good spot trading exchange now. I'm going to be talking about a gaming token that's launching there in the next couple of weeks in my show tomorrow. So if you haven't checked Bybit out, it is a spot exchange now as well. I've always been very wary. I know a lot of our audience are play to earn people. I don't necessarily think they should be leverage trading. So, but there is a link below to Bybit. There is a bonus if you want to check it out. That's what I got to say on that one. Baloo, liquidity. talk us through what people should understand about a lot of these sort of lower cap coins that they may be aping into at the moment.
Yeah, so liquidity is kind of this concept that is lost on people for a good part of their initial career as a trader or an investor. They don't really understand because the user interface when you go to buy is you can buy tokens and it's pretty instantaneous. And when you go to sell, you can sell your tokens and it's relatively instantaneous. But what's actually happening is you're being matched with a seller. So if you're a buyer, you're being matched with a seller. There's an order ready for you to buy that is another person who has decided to sell. And the inverse is true as well. When you go to sell, you have to have a buyer. You have to have somebody whose order is placed ready to purchase your asset in what's called the order book. Now, we have an interesting kind of dilemma or an interesting case of circumstances currently where we're at a bit of a transitional period in cryptocurrency as a whole. DeFi is getting more and more mainstream. I know that there's still a good user base that doesn't interact with DeFi, but it's getting more mainstream. And what's happening is a lot of the coins that are available on the exchanges are leaving the exchange and going to DeFi. Now, what that's doing is those coins may have been sitting on the exchange on the order books for market making purposes, and now they no longer exist. So the amount of orders that are in the book is reduced. When you add leverage to a system, and this is kind of a different system where we don't really overexpose to systemic leverage, we just have individualized leverage. So as soon as you can't make your margin, you're liquidated. They cut you out of the trade. And how they cut you out of the trade is through a market sell or a market buy if you're short. And what that does is it eats away the liquidity or the stack, the list of orders that are in the order book. So most of the market is kind of a degenerate leveraged trader. I mean, a good amount of traders are using in excess of 10x, 15x, 20x leverage. And that's, 20x leverage, you just need a 5% move and you're in liquidation territory. You stack that up on an insane greed trajectory where there's already a lot less liquidity because we're in a bull market, so people aren't placing sell orders inside the order book. You couple those things together, and when the liquidation event occurs, it blasts through the order book really, really quickly, and it gets to these really low numbers, and that's how you experience a flash crash where, on Binance US, we saw Bitcoin trade down to $8,500, crazy, because there was an order on the order book for $8,500. So as the liquidations cleared through every other order in front of it, it managed to get down there. So that was the price of Bitcoin on Binance US. So, carrying a lot of leverage, even, using stop losses becomes really difficult. Now, I do advise that everybody manage risk one way or another. But for me, I'm taking, smaller, more diversified altcoin positions with no stop losses. And that's not an invitation to copy me. I'm just kind of explaining what it is that I'm doing. But I look at the situation that's currently happening in the markets, and I think that there's just a really big vulnerability to the retail investor in terms of using leverage currently. That's my own belief. Certain assets are more liquid than others. So if you're in Bitcoin, it's a very liquid asset. But, if you're in, Tezos or you're in, whatever, Bitcoin Cash, now we're not even talking about the same things. It's a very different order book that can be blown through really quickly.
Absolutely. And, I think the other thing that really confuses people, if when they look at these market caps, which are in the billions, they assume that there's plenty of liquidity there. You can sell what you've got at any time. You can't.
No.
I think
it's a huge misunderstanding. Everybody thinks that market cap means money in. And it doesn't. The price of an asset is decided by the order book. If I sell you something and you buy it, the agreement that two parties make is the price. So it has nothing to do with market cap. If you add $1 trillion worth of market cap into Bitcoin, it doesn't mean Bitcoin goes up by $1 trillion. realistically, it probably increases in market cap by maybe 6 or 8 or maybe even $10 trillion because of the amount of liquidity going through the order book to decide on price.
Yeah.
Market cap and price have really nothing to do with each other. And I actually think that it's kind of silly that we use it so much in crypto because we're not measuring the profitability or the worth of a company. We're trying to assign value on a network. What is the market cap of the internet? Nobody has that answer. Nobody knows what the market cap of the internet is, but I guarantee you it would be one of the highest assets market cap ever. And cryptocurrency is network effects. It's kind of silly that we use market cap at all, but we do. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so in summary, so far, you think we're around sort of the midpoint in the cycle.
As far as this chart is saying, we're just above the midpoint. Now that doesn't mean that
the bull run goes for another 2 years, people.
No, it has nothing to do with time and everything to do with volatility. So, where it took 392 days to get to this point, it may take 92 days, or it may take 60 days, or even 30 days to get to the top. The trajectory increases quite a bit. And I'm kind of playing the time frame thing a little bit more conservative than most people on YouTube. A lot of talks of us going well into 2022. Everybody thinks at a minimum we're going to be into Q1 of 2022. The problem with everybody thinking the same thing is it becomes a crowded trade. And when you have a crowded trade, somebody can counter trade it. So I'm, again, price and volume are going to tell me a lot, but I'm playing it a little bit more conservative. And I think, I'm on edge and watching what I'm seeing in the price to make decisions for the possibility that we have something that ends before the end of the year.
Yeah, likewise. I'm all eyes and ears at the moment. Look, it's an exciting time in this market. This is where you really can make some incredible gains, but be in control of greed. I'm working on myself on that one. I can tell you that. At the moment, it is like shooting fish in a barrel. I placed a few bets that I'll cover in the second half of the show, talk about why I'm in them, but they are trades based on where we're at in the cycle, what the hot areas are at the moment. And without a doubt, you got something to do with the metaverse, you're pumping. We've seen ridiculous gains in Decentraland, Sandbox. I mean, these things are pumped. Would you hang in there right now on those ones? Are they going to keep going up? I mean, these are the questions you got to be asking yourselves, people.
And the other facet to this type of thing is just understanding what kind of a person you are and being okay with large cycle retracements. Like the institutions are in. We're seeing institutions buying NFTs. They're buying land in Decentraland. They're buying land in Sandbox. There's a lot of venture capitalists from traditional finance who are coming in and buying. Yep. Their time parameter is let's reassess at the next cycle. So their time horizon is well out, and they understand they're not looking at the price. They're not, refreshing their blockfolio every 10 minutes. They're not refreshing whatever app they're using to track their portfolio every 10 minutes. They're just accumulating assets in a growing asset class with the intent to reassess or even develop with some of the technology they're purchasing over like a 10-year time frame. Traditional finance, this is how they think. So in a sense, you could be somebody in traditional finance and you could buy the all-time high because your time horizon is so high, or so long rather, that it really doesn't matter. Like if we go ahead and take a look here, from the all-time high of 2013 cycle to the all-time low of the next cycle, this is the worst trade you could have possibly made. If you bought the all-time high and then ran the bull market to the next all-time high and sold the all-time low. If you made that trade, you still made 145%. So, when you have a long time horizon on your side, you've got an advantage because this is an emerging asset class and this is not something that's going away anytime soon. Place your bets in safe bets. assets that can prove that they can be around long term, that have a long term vision. But in the case of Bitcoin, if you bought the all-time high and sold the all-time low, you still made 150%. So the time horizon does matter. And you would have to be a pretty special person to be able to trade the worst trade ever. You would do better than this.
Yeah, look, they're really wise words. And, my sort of personal situation, talking time horizons, I put Bitcoin and Ethereum, these are long-term plays for me. They're my biggest positions. I trade depending on where we are in the cycle, I trade between 10 and 30% of that position. The rest is put away. I don't touch it. I know that there will be a correction. I know those will go down. But my attitude on Ethereum is you got to have 32 ETH for what's coming in the future. I'm willing to sit there through a 50, if not 80% retracement of that asset. I have a long time horizon on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'll write it out. I can sleep at night. I've accepted that it is going to fluctuate. Some of the others, I've gone into we were talking about capitalization before. Look, it is somewhat of a guide. I placed some bets on some low caps. They were below 200 million. Now, my rationale here, I don't know if you want to have a look at these charts while I sort of talk through the thinking here. One of them is a project called Ultra. Its ticker is UOS. I've been talking about this for a number of weeks. A lot of the people in the gaming space seem to shun this one a wee bit. I'm not quite sure why. It is sort of doing something a little bit different. I'll go into the fundamentals of this project on our actual gaming show, but from a chart point of view, and that's what this show is all about, Baloo, I just wanted to get your thoughts on how this one is tracking. But in short, Ultra is a game distribution platform. They're sort of gearing up for some major happenings over the coming months. It's an interesting one. It hadn't pumped, right? Pure and simple, just simply hadn't pumped. So I took a position a few weeks back, and it has, I think I'm up about 50% on this trade so far. What does the chart tell us on this one?
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's growing in value sustainably. There's a good rally where the resistance is broken through. You have a consolidation that doesn't have a high amount of volatility, and then you have another leg up. So the volatility here is not crazy. Now, that's in terms of what I'm looking at with the price candles. I can tell that these candles are actually quite large moves individually. So there is a lot of volatility within the asset, regardless of structure. But we keep making higher highs and we keep making higher lows. The trend is up, and this is not full on parabolic. You're not seeing this one in YouTube. So these would be some of the plays that I would like to be a participant on. We just broke above a key resistance. We tried to do it once before. We fell back down, and now we're on track to close a high above this local high right here. So everything's looking good. Nice, healthy movement in the price, all happening on low volume. So we're ticking to the upside on low volume, showing a low amount of effort to continue the price up. If this begins to break out again, we'll see the volume come back in. But from a technical standpoint, it looks fine.
Yeah. So I'll sort of talk you through my personal strategies on these ones. Obviously, the gaming space is from hard forking's point of view. We've pivoted pretty hard into the play to earn space. We're going to continue to do that. We continue to grow our play to earn community. So this is a long play for us. Now, with that in mind, obviously, I'm accumulating a number of, the gaming platforms, game tokens as well. But I do think these potentially are going to be some of the ones that will just see massive corrections and when the market corrects. So something like Ultra, I am going to retain a percentage of my holdings in this. I'll be looking to take a little bit of profit out of this one over the next month, if not before. So that's my play on this particular one. Now, another one, once again, the reason I've gone into this one is called Ethernity Chain. Its ticker is ERN. I actually got contacted by their marketing department about a month ago, asking us to have a look. Now, this is in no way, shape, or form. There's no payments or anything like that between hard forking and these guys. But in talking to them, it did make me have another look at what this one's all about. Now, the reason I've entered a trade, it's a metaverse project. It's an NFT project. We've got the big NFT conference happening in New York at the moment. I entered a trade on this one about 2 weeks ago. I think I'm up about 50% to this point. It looks like a good NFT platform to me. So yeah, I'm whether this is, I think the NFT sector is going to have a very serious correction when the market corrects. I don't think we're there yet, but what does the chart tell us on this one, Baloo?
So this one's quite interesting. Now, with these newer types of tokens where they are available on Uniswap, at this point in the market cycle, I want to make sure that if I'm taking a trade, that it's going to outperform the underlying asset. So in the case of any of these swaps where you're on Ethereum, if you're going to be selling some of your Ethereum to take a trade, you should monitor your trade on the Ethereum pair. I know that that's kind of a harder concept for somebody who's new because they intrinsically count the dollars because the dollars are how you spend money in your world. But you do have to think about the trade. So the only way for you to monitor the trade's performance, you made a decision to sell Ethereum for earn tokens. You need to monitor the trade on Ethereum. So I'm going to use the wrapped Ethereum pair.
You got to beat it well, otherwise don't do it.
Yes.
Not financially.
Yes. So I've pulled up the Ethereum pair to kind of watch, key levels here. And you're going to want to break out of this channel. We're trading sideways. This is really, really good. It looks like we just got a listing on, was it Binance? Where did we get a listing? A listing on Binance not too long ago that kind of added some volume to it. So it's looking good in that regard. Binance has a ton of volume, trading activity and volume there. So if this does begin to gain exposure, it won't take very long for the herd to join in on the activities. But I don't really like how the bottom of this channel hasn't really tested very much. So there's two kind of outcomes here. I would say that anytime you get into this kind of general area here, that would be a pretty strong buy signal. Not saying it can go down this far. I'm just saying, like, if it enters this box, that would be a pretty good buy for somebody who's wanting to accumulate this asset. But what you would want to see for a breakout is we need to get out of the channel. So if we can get out of the channel, better yet, breaking out this high right here, get above that high and maybe come in for a retest, although a lot of stuff isn't really retesting right now. It's just breaking out and going. Then you're in a really good spot to be outpacing the performance of Ethereum. So right now it's curling to the upside. So we'll have to see how that progresses. But these are the types of things that me personally, I prefer to buy. I'm not the one to try and become a participant in something that has a lot of momentum. I like to buy the stuff that I know that smart money is buying. And in terms of the Ethereum pair, this is very flat. Smart people are buying this. People that don't know, people that know more than I do are buying it and accumulating this asset. How long it remains trading sideways, I have no idea. But there are people propping up the price at this point, and nobody's talking about it. So it's another good one to kind of
correct. I mean, there was a lot of hype around it. Obviously, when you look at the chart, clearly you can see where the hype was, and then it fell off a cliff. Personally, I didn't actually like some of the channels where I was seeing it getting hyped. Just the style of how they put projects forward to their audiences makes me want to vomit half the time. So I actually stayed away from it. But yeah, look, I'm playing around with this platform at the moment. I'll do a fundamental analysis of this on our show coming up in the next couple of days. This show's obviously all about the chart. So thank you for that, Baloo. As I say, I just want to reiterate, for me, this was a low cap. Was under 200 mil market cap, although we have sort of explained our thoughts on market cap to you. Look, it just, for me, it potentially has the potential to 10x. That's why I'm trading this one. Whether it becomes an investment, I will let you know once I've played around more with the platform. Okay, others that now this one is an interesting one. If you could bring up Aavegotchi, that's GHST. Now, this is a play to earn game. Well, it's sort of very much a DeFi or GameFi, as they call it. This one has just had its land sale, so we saw a real run up in the price coming into that land sale. It's sort of tapering off a wee bit since they finished a couple of days ago. But I have been actually playing this game. I see really, really big potential for this project. I really like it. I like so much of what it's about. I like the documentation around it. This one for me is a long-term play. I'm considering this an investment. I'm getting in there. I'm getting land. I'm playing the game. I'm looking to do this with our hard forking play to win community. So, yeah, I like this project. This is, as I say, the other ones that I've just mentioned there at this point are trades for me. Aavegotchi is something we're looking to develop with hard forking. It's an investment. I like this project. What does the chart tell us on it, Baloo?
We're squeezing. So we are coming from a downtrend, right? So we haven't repaired the trend just yet. We have our first lower high. So that's kind of your first check mark in repairing a trend. This is the very first lower high, but we don't have a higher high. So, it's high, lower high, lower high. So there's no structural break here. So what you would be wanting to wait for, if you were really bullish, if we come down and test near the bottom again, I think that would be a really good buying opportunity, especially if we break out. I think it'll get bought back in. So if you see anything go below this triangle, I think that would be a really good spot to buy. But the confirmation of a more bullish price action would be a breakout. Now, this is a very long-term consolidation. So a break of this level would probably be met with some excitement and some exuberance, and given the liquidity of something like ghost tokens, is it ghost, is that what they call their governance token? Correct, I'm not even sure, but it would probably just moon and then crash back down before coming back up. So something like this, it's got a lot of volatility, but that's what I would be looking for. You have a consolidation at a bottom that's kind of got an inverse head and shoulders formation, looking to break a downward sloping triangle. I keep my analysis kind of more simple and use patterns when we're in this type of trading environment, because they become a lot more reliable because they're one of the more simple ways to trade. But you're just watching for a break of a consolidation, break of structure inside of a consolidation. So if you get a breakout above here, that breaks above the high right here at around, it's on the ETH pair. Yeah, this is on the ETH pair as well, so make note of that. Then it would be looking really good. So it looks like all the assets that you're looking at right now, they're all kind of in their accumulation zone. So for people that do their fundamental research and people that have a long-term vision and aren't afraid to invest in the spot markets while an asset is in accumulation, knowing that the accumulation can go on for months, those are some of the better trades. They take a lot of time to play out, and a lot of people aren't here to give trades time to play out. We have a lot of the make money fast crowd in the trenches these days, but these are the trades that I prefer.
Yeah, correct. And just, I want to reiterate, people, the show isn't financial advice. I was criticized by a few people by maybe not sort of being a bit more open about what I'm doing in the market, and that's what I'm attempting to do on today's show. Be a little more open about some of the things I'm doing. So this one here, just to close out the chat on it, it's way down below 300 in market cap. But when I compare where I think this is going to some of these other games that don't even have a game that are worth multiples of this. This one doesn't look great. It's very pixelated, etc. But I think there's pretty good people behind this. I think this one's got massive potential. So go and have a look. But as I say, long play for me on this one. This is not something for your rich quick tomorrow. But go have a look at Aavegotchi, people. Okay, so next,
I would like to kind of add something to that with some of the criticisms. A lot of people, they come into this market and they want guidance, and rightfully so. This is kind of a hard space to navigate because everything's so new and it changes so quickly, and the space evolves like really, really fast. So you do have to follow a lot of YouTubers to kind of, keep your finger on the pulse. But there's a good amount of market participants that don't actually use any of the products. And I think that that's a really good first place for you to step into. So for me,
100%.
I use a lot of DeFi stuff. So yes, I got into Axie. Yes, I got into gaming, and I'm very excited for the metaverse. But I'm far more excited with DeFi protocols that allow you to gain a yield on your Bitcoin, ETH, and stable coins, and all of the infrastructure that goes on with farming and lending and borrowing and replacing the banking system is something that I'm really passionate about.
Oh, yes.
Will there be trades, to do with the metaverse? Yes. Will there be trades to do with meme coins? Yes. The point I'm trying to make here is you need to focus in on what you think is valuable. Why do you like cryptocurrency? What is it about cryptocurrency that makes your light turn on and be like, wow, this is going to change the world? Whatever category that falls under is where you need to narrow your focus. Don't ask what coins people are buying because everybody's an idiot except you. Just understand that if you see value in something because you're using it and it's amazing, invest in it. You can have some play money too. There are trades out there. Like I'm looking to buy Shiba Inu and I care nothing about it. I just know that it has a lot of trading volume. So if there's a move, I want to be a participant. But
sorry, are you talking
my focus
here, or you are actually going to buy some Shiba Inu?
No, I'm going to buy some Shiba Inu. It's got incredible volume. People don't understand crypto. I'm going to capitalize on that. There's a high amount of volume in Shiba Inu.
Go on then. Let's have a look at the Shiba chart, Baloo. Let's have a look at that chart. I shorted it the other day.
You did well on that one.
On our last show, I made a nice little return on it actually.
Yeah, so I think the last time we discussed
I should be long in
this,
it now. Is that what I'm hearing?
I said we were in a consolidation. Wait for the break of the consolidation before making a move. So if you were buying inside of the consolidation against what I was saying, you are now down because you needed to wait for the break for the consolidation to show you the direction. So where we're headed right now, we've just broken bearish out of this consolidation. So we need to form new structure. We need to create a new accumulation. We need to create some sort of new consolidation here so that we can, be bullish again. But we broke down. So the local trend is going to be down. I wouldn't be surprised. Here we're on the daily. Let's pull up the alpha numerics indicator, which comes free with my trading group. If you want access to this indicator that tells you when to buy and when to sell, it's about to flash bearish on Shiba Inu. So my trades will come later. Sign up for the group. But, I'm looking down in this area of around 31.35. So, everybody who holds Shiba Inu, they're probably really pissed off to hear me say that number, but it is what it is. I think that this is the liquidity zone. If any smart money is looking to pick up a position on Shiba Inu, they're going to be doing so down in this kind of general area. It doesn't mean that it has to stay there for a long time. It'll probably be a wick, but that's kind of the next generalized target for me. And of course, it can move around, but there are never certainties in the market. But we broke bearish on the consolidation, so the assumption is that we can continue that to the downside.
Gotcha. I also, I've been watching these dog coins with a lot of fear, actually. Well, not fear, but for me, it's a real flag of where we're at in the cycle. Just the degenning into a coin that does nothing.
For me, it's a good measure of where we are. Period in crypto. Yeah. Forget the cycles, the fact that people are throwing their life savings into meme coins should be a really clear indicator that nobody gives a fuck about crypto. Pardon my French, but nobody has woken up to the potential of cryptocurrency. And people that are being dragged in now and they're just like, everything's pumping. What's going on in here? And all they're hearing is, oh yeah, buy Dogecoin, buy Shiba Inu, buy this useless thing, buy that useless thing. And at no point do they stop and say, why? What does it do? Yeah. We're replacing the banking system. We're revolutionizing the gaming industry. We're creating a metaverse that's owned by no one, which is how the metaverse should be owned. I think that, Mark Zuckerberg trying to own the metaverse will fail ultimately. We're creating something new here. And if you don't understand that, just spend some time and understand it. Go buy your dog coins. Go buy your dog coins. They pump. I'm not going to sit here and say that they don't, not financial advice, but, most of the market doesn't know what this stuff does. And when they wake up to it, the value will be revealed.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree more. My feeling, and you and I have sort of discussed this offline a number of times, is so much of what we're seeing in this cycle, if I compare it to 217, that was pure speculation. Most people in
Yeah.
Bitcoin didn't really even understand Bitcoin. That's why I spent 5 years as a Bitcoin only brand trying to educate people on why Bitcoin is so special. And it remains the only one that is
Yeah.
really special. It's completely decentralized. It's always going to be there for us. All this other stuff is still proof of concept, where we complain about the ETH gas fees. Yes, we've got Ethereum 2.0 coming. Is that a guarantee? Hell no, it's not a guarantee. Things can go wrong. It's a bet. It's an educated bet, in my opinion, and that's why I'm happy to take that bet. I do think it really will deliver. But, so many of these other things, you see, a game like, what is it, Illuvium? I mean, they don't even have a game yet. And that thing just keeps
They've got a
going
farm.
up and up and up in price. Star Atlas, another one. Where's the game?
All you need is a farm. If you can provide liquidity for a farm, you can pump a token. That's all you need in this space.
So, these are the sort of
game
things
is.
that I think, they may well turn out to be just, blow us away, the best gaming opportunities ever. But really, for me, what we're seeing, we've seen Axie succeed, that it's been proof of concept. It has shown the world how this can play out. Other projects that I love because of the way they're structured, and I've talked till I'm blue in the face on this one, Nine Chronicles. That thing is buggy as hell at the moment, and there's a million complaints about people not being able to get into the game, having to constantly restart it. But, for me, this one is the only game that is completely on a blockchain. It'll be there forever. That makes it special for that reason. Many of the tokens I have in that game, I'm actually buying the NFTs in the game. I'm playing the game on a daily basis. I really enjoy the game. Now, to me, that says this one is going to be around long term. Am I willing to take the huge hit if the market corrects and invariably everything corrects? Yeah, on that token I am, because I'm actually using the token. I'm generating more coins by playing these battles and so forth. So, that's how I'm playing that particular project. Now, Shiba, okay, that's for you, that's a trade. You're a fantastic trader. I get that, but I made my score on that one shorting, and I'll probably stay away, I think.
Just squeeze a little bit of dollars out of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now to wrap up,
I mean, the liquidity is there.
My low cap chat, Baloo. I got one more. I said I'd look at 5 that were low caps that have got a lot of potential, in my opinion, for the cycle. Now, another one is the Cardia chain. Its symbol is Kai, Kai. Now, I will look. I had the founder of this project on. I don't know, probably 9-10 months ago. I've researched the team here. Now, while I'm not a huge fan of sort of blockchains that are doing their own thing. What I like about Cardia Chain is this project is out of Vietnam, and Vietnam is experiencing the most adoption of any country in the crypto space. These guys have launched a DEX. They've got some games that have launched on this platform. It's a low market cap play. It's got real potential to go a lot higher, in my opinion. Now, whether that's going to be this cycle or not, but I'm seeing a lot of development on this chain. It is interoperable. It takes a bit of technical nous to negotiate some of the things happening here at the moment. But it's early days. As I say, it's in a country with huge adoption of crypto, a lot of governmental support. But this is a trading show. So I'm very interested to hear what you think of the chart.
I think that this is a very healthy chart. Now, the overall structure of this is really bullish and something that I really get excited about when I see a structure like this, where you have this kind of distribution into a downtrend where we trade sideways for a long consolidation and then a really strong rally out. Now, this rally is kind of getting a little bit overheated. So there's going to be kind of one or two outcomes. We might get a rally that kind of breaks us up above here and is met with some supply, and we come back down and test. I would prefer to pick this up on a test. So if you've been campaigning into this, you're in a really good spot. But for me, if I was to buy a position, I would want to wait for a retrace just because we're really overextended. If I turn on the TD sequential, we can see that we're on a very large rally on the daily. The last candle in a sequential sequence is a 9, and we're a good 5 candles above. So it's really overextended. It does need to correct a little bit. Now, nothing has to do anything. This is just, these are typical indicators that can sway the decision making of traders. But this is a really good chart. This is what the best chart we've looked at thus far. It's a really healthy chart coming out of a long-term accumulation, really good market structure. I like it. Good volume, good RSI, good price structure. I'm going to have to steal this one and take a look.
Okay. So have I given my 5 coins with low market caps and huge potential? I think so. The ones just in summary were Ultra, UOS, Ethernity, Aavegotchi, and Cardi Chain. That's not 5, is it? It's 4. Okay, the other one that I've been looking at, and this is actually more of a long-term play, but it is a low cap, so I'm including it in my 5, is Xdai.
Stake tokens. Yeah, so this is an interesting one. You know, I have a position in stake as well. I am contributing to the delegators or the validators. I am a delegator on this protocol. So I'm staking and receiving yield on my stake tokens to receive some DAI.
Not a huge amount of yield, is it, on this one?
No, it's not. It's not a ton of yield. It's really low, and it's a lot of messing around. Like, you got to be pretty active with it. You kind of need to almost set alarms for every epoch that kind of changes around. So it's very hands-on. It's not passive. It's really not passive at all. And the Xdai ecosystem is not really well marketed. It doesn't have a lot of follow through, and it's not available on a lot of. Yeah, it's not available on a lot of exchanges either. So its fundamentals are really strong because the user experience is really good and the fees are incredibly cheap. And as the project scales, the gas fees won't scale alongside the project. The gas fees will always remain denominated in DAI. So that's a very unique characteristic to a sidechain. And anything that's unique in a blockchain is something that I'm bullish on long term. So, you know, for a company to want to use a sidechain like Xdai, where they can be a lot more dependent on being able to predict the fees associated with processing transactions with gas, because the native token is a stable coin, that's a really interesting thing. Now, the paradox to that is, if the coin is a stable coin, does the coin have intrinsic demand? Does stake token have intrinsic demand? Because the only purpose for you to buy stake token is to become a delegator or to become a validator. So there is a loss of intrinsic demand when you use this model. So it may not be a retail chain. It may end up being more of an institutionalized chain where they're not there to make gains on the underlying asset that runs the protocol. They're there to run the protocols that run their business. So this is
exactly
definitely
what we're
something
doing,
that's going to be
Baloo.
Yeah, exactly. With the hard forking stocks. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah,
for those of the
so I think that this is going to be more of an institutional
it's
chain
an interesting
where
one.
things
I
are more
think
predictable.
It's for, the hardcore sort of ETH heads. Absolutely love this project. There's some good projects on it, actually. I'm looking at some of them the other day. So yeah, it's probably not the one if you're a DG and looking for a 10x tomorrow. I just wanted to include this in these 5 projects that are low cap that I'm looking at right now. This one is I think you've described it very well. Maybe not for the DGens out there; they're all booing at the moment. Okay, so then
no ape
my
on this
5. Now, Baloo. Let's move on from that before we sort of discuss exit strategies. The other trade that I entered this week was a leveraged long on Soll. I got an entry just over $200. So I think I'm up close to 100% on that trade at the moment. Where are we heading in your opinion? What's the chart telling us?
Up only. That's it. Up only.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Solana has some fantastic intrinsic value, and it's got a really good amount of intrinsic demand. People need to buy it to use it, and this is the ETH of this cycle. The usability, except ETH didn't have Web3 in the last cycle, so this is a really good play. No, it's not as decentralized as Ethereum, but the products it's offering are really, really good, and they're catering to traders. And the market right now is really, it's about traders. The earlier market cycle, the kind of kickoff to the bull run, it was, farming yield and liquidity providing, and a lot of this interesting stuff going on with, receiving a yield on the tokens that you're holding long term. But now we're kind of transitioning into more of the NFT flippers, the liquidity, hunting out those small market cap coins and flipping those types of plays. And as far as a decentralized exchange, all of the dexes on Solana are great. So the Solana ecosystem is really fast, really reliable, and it's well stylized and well marketed. It's a really good project, and I wouldn't be surprised. The next area of supply for me here is at 265, and that's just a stopover in my opinion. I've got much higher targets in mind for Solana, even in the potential ballpark. Under the right conditions, we could be. Me personally, not financial advice, don't quote me on this, but me personally, I wouldn't be surprised to see $1,000 Solana.
That would be nice. That would be very, very nice. The Solana ecosystem are also having their conference in Lisbon. That kicks off, I believe, on the 7th to the 10th. So if you're in that part of the world, I'd definitely get along to that. And typically when you get these conferences, you often see a nice little pump in the projects on Solana and Solana. So okay, looks like I got a nice entry on that one. I'm going to be greedy.
I'd say you got a pretty nice entry. If you have the ability to eliminate risk and have a break-even stop, you're in a good place.
This is true. Yeah. Right. So let's. Did you have any projects charts you wanted to have a look at? I've sort of dominated that today.
Yeah, I think today my focus was going to be more market wide and kind of take a look at some of the indexes that were kind of interesting me. I've kind of broadened my scope of analysis to people that I speak to because, we are entering a very favorable trading environment where it's not so much about the individual assets that you pick, it's about the sector that you've chosen. So when deciding on a sector to, buy tokens in, I really like FTX's indexes that they've created. So here is the DeFi index. We just had a breakout of the DeFi index. So it's its first kind of breakout. So I could see a lot of the decentralized finance protocol tokens, like governance tokens and stuff, all in DeFi. Solana's even in this basket as well, performing quite well as we just kind of confirmed this breakout. There are some other ones that I'm watching as well. So mid caps is it's called mid perp on FTX.
Yep.
This is one that's coiling up.
So I'm all
you just signed up. Signed up, my God.
Oh, look, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Bybit. So I'm going to see.
Well, you're going to be a big fan of FTX.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can have both.
No, only FTX. We've overtaken a nice support/resistance flip here on the mid caps. So this is, an evenly weighted basket of 25 different assets, all in the mid cap range. So it's kind of a nice index for you to maintain exposure to a basket of assets that are kind of, not shit coins. They might be considered shit coins.
How do I actually buy this? What do I do here?
So these are only offered as derivatives. So it's going to be a perpetual futures contract. So there's no coin. You can't buy it in the spot market. So there's always going to be funding associated with these trades. But basically, this one that I'm looking at right now is mid perp. So there's mid perp, there's alt perp. Alt perp is like Tron, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, all of like those OG crypto coins from back in the day. That's alt perp. And then there's DeFi perp. There's Wall Street Bets perk, which is all of like the tokenized stocks that are all meme stocks on Wall Street Bets.
Right. So you're buying exposure
Reddit channel
to a large amount of
You're
coins
getting exposure to a basket of assets, which is kind of the better way to go in a lot of circumstances in this type of market environment where the pumps come really fast and they leave really quickly. So if we're in kind of this pump and not like pump and dump, but we're in this large move and then consolidation type environment, it's really good to be in these types of baskets because they'll be the recipient of all of these different pumps, and it kind of just smooths out the volatility.
You're not going to buy these individual assets all in on one coin, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, you're spreading out the risk, which I think is kind of the better climate to be in right now. You're spreading out risk, but you only have one trade. So you have exposure to 25 assets, but you only have one trade to manage. So I like that type of stuff. I think
it's an important point, isn't it? Because, when you so often people have got hundreds of coins in a portfolio, the market taps on them. They're there trying to.
You can't do anything.
Nightmare.
You can't sell things fast enough. You can't pivot fast enough. If you want the ability to pivot, less positions is better. And if you want a broad amount of exposure to the market and less positions, then these index contracts are really made for you. They're made for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to beg you to do maybe a video we can put up on our website, which we're launching, just sort of going into a bit more detail on how to set these type of trades up. But please, people, make sure you do follow Baloo's content. I get a huge amount of our community that are really very impressed with you and have got across and follow you. You're only on our channel once a week. We're going to try and encourage you to do a bit more, but you can find Baloo 3 days a week on his channel. People, that link is in the show notes. So make sure you subscribe.
And you can find me pretty much every day of the week if you join the Discord. Go hit me up on Twitch and join the Discord.
Yep. Now, if there was ever a time to be following a guy like Baloo, it's now, guys, this part of the cycle. I'm still here playing my games and growing the community, but I've absolutely got my trading hat, eyes and ears on fully for this part of the cycle. Now, any other indexes to have a look at here?
Yeah, so there's a couple that I think for those who are trading on Uniswap and SushiSwap, some great tokens to gain broad exposure to is MVI, which is the Metaverse Index token, which is a tokenized basket of currencies, kind of like an ETF that's focused towards the metaverse.
Wow,
so this one is kind of... It's done, pretty well. We got a nice move here. This is on the wrapped Ethereum pair. So we got a 12% move up on gaining on Ethereum. Then we got a 32% move up gaining on Ethereum. But what I like about this is that it's, again, broad exposure. So if you're that type of person who's just like, wow, the metaverse looks really, really cool, but I just can't pick. Like, I can't pick. I'll take less percentage gains and trade that for broad exposure, then the MVI can be really helpful for you for gaining broad exposure to the metaverse. All of these metaverse tokens exist solely on Ethereum. So if you're looking at projects that are on Solana, or if you're looking on Polygon or Binance Smart Chain, none of those assets will exist on this index. This is built inside of Ethereum. This is an index that's built on Ethereum, so it only works with ERC20 tokens, but it's a good way to get generalized broad exposure. And another one is the DPI. So the DeFi Pulse Index is another way for you to gain broad exposure to an asset class. And this one has been declining against Ethereum for quite a while. So if we can get a break of structure, I really think we could start seeing DeFi begin to heat up here. So this is, again, just a basket of assets, mainly Ethereum governance tokens that are used in the decentralized finance world. If we can get a break above here, I think that the DeFi Pulse Index would be a good play as well. And this will signal a lot of bullishness in the DeFi sector, which I do think we're going to have a little bit of a pretty good bull run inside of DeFi. I can see a lot of the stuff in DeFi beginning to set up. And if I remember the kind of kickoff to the alt season last year, it was kicked off by Doge. Doge started the kind of the risk on investing. And this time around, it looks like Shiba has kind of kicked things off and given permission to the degens to, max out their credit cards on NFTs and
I think a lot of them
poking
might have
lunches.
exited your favorite project, Hex. That's lost. That just tanked. While and there appeared to be a really strong inverse relationship between Hex tanking and Shiba mooning. Obviously, I think Mr. Hart, the communication around what's going on with Pulse Chain. This is just seeing this DeFi Pulse sort of spark my memory on that one. I'm astounded at the lack of information that's coming to the community about what the hell is going on with that. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm in the wrong group. Anyone that is aware of what's going on with Pulse Chain, please get in touch. I'd like to know more.
Well, I was always a little bashful to kind of be the bad bear in the room when I said, if we break down here, the next kind of support range is going to be around 18 cents. And lo and behold, we're kind of threatening those levels here. For the bulls out there, we are kind of approaching a critical support level, and we do have a little bit of a bullish divergence that's occurring. Whether that plays out is yet to be seen. I have my own personal reservations on this project, and I think it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But it is what it is. There's a lot of confusion with Pulse Chain. It confuses me. It's not designed in a way to be easy to understand. The whole sacrifice thing, what does that mean? Like, you're just getting rid of, like, you're essentially burning assets to have them minted in a new place. And, communication with the community in terms of what it's going to look like. Is there going to be a migration process? Is it just going to be plug and play? There's a lot of questions that are being asked, and
look, for me, it's once again, Richard Hart. I got into this. I actually started my media brand. The early part of it, planning it in 2016, and the rationale was there was nothing. There was anyone that was around in the space back then will tell you there was nothing. Here's me buying some tokens and trying to research them, find out what they were about. There was just no content out there. There was Ivan on Tech, who also at the time was showing people how to do bicep curls in his bedroom. I mean, that was the level, that was where things were at. I'm not joking, it's true. And, there was Tone Vase, World Crypto Network. There was hardly anything, but Richard Hart was actually a shining light. This guy did some of the better interviews. He would have projects on, and he would tear them a new asshole. That's what he did. Now, when I see Richard Hart, all he seems to be doing at the moment is showing off how much money he's got. It is cringy. It makes me want to vomit. It is so disappointing to see a guy who was instrumental in just being a straight shooter, telling it like it was. I really rated the guy. It's obviously a marketing ploy, but I don't know, man.
You're playing to the audience. You're playing to the audience. You
worries me if that audience
exactly
is loving that shit. I don't want to be in the project with that crowd.
There's a lot of fantasy in cryptocurrency with new retail investors coming in and thinking that they can become a millionaire overnight. Because we have this really big problem in cryptocurrency called survivor bias. The success stories in this market have incredible asymmetry. The success stories are obscene. Like, hey, I put $8,000 in Shiba Inu and now I own $5.7 billion. And those are the stories that make waves. Those are the stories that people latch onto. Those are the stories that people focus on. And what they don't focus on is the 99.9% of other people that put their life savings in and lost everything. Because that's a big part. It's a big part of this market. Where do you think all this money comes from? How do you think that guy has $5.7 billion? The money has to come from somewhere, and it's coming from your pockets. It's coming from the people who come in here with the wrong intentions. The best advice I can give you is, if you don't know what's going on, don't invest. Go and use. Okay, there's a big difference from putting $1,000 into DeFi, putting $1,000 into Ethereum and going and playing with stuff. Or if you want to save on fees, put it into Polygon. Just go in and look. around. Look at what's going on. Like, we have a checking account in traditional finance where you have to pay $15 a month and you have X amount of withdrawals that you can do without a fee. And then we've got this that has, very low fees and no limits. And then you have got a savings account where you get like 1% from the bank. We have a savings account too where you get 10 to 20%. We've made a better system. There's not much to really get. It's just we've made a payment network more secure and better. And we've eliminated the banks. And if that kind of narrative is not front and center, you're going to take risks that are unnecessary and will likely lead you down a path of loss because the majority of individuals lose money.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Absolutely.
It's how it is.
Yep.
The people that have this rich money, they get it from everybody else that loses.
True. Yep. There's got to be a winner and a loser. Just to round off the Hex chat, I'm going to endeavor to get Richard Hart back on the channel. It was one of the interviews I've enjoyed the most. I'm just straight up disappointed of the content that he makes now. As you say, he's obviously playing to an audience, and that's what they like. He's a smart guy. He will have ascertained that. As far as what am I doing with Hex? That community donated the tokens to us. I've kept them because of that. I cover the project regularly. Look, I did take some profit off it, so anything I've got in there now is the house's money, and I'm just going to sit on it. I'm staked for another couple of years. What happens will happen with that one, but yeah, up to you whether you would enter it now, I guess is what I'm saying. Baloo, you mentioned, can we have a look at one more chart before we wrap it up? One that we always look at. You just mentioned it there, the Polygon Network, the Matic token. It seems, I forget the resistance level you mentioned last time. I feel it may have been 220.
We broke it, baby. We broke it. Oh, wait, no, we touched it. We touched it and we retraced. Honestly, I'm not worried about Matic. I think that this is one of the stronger plays out there.
Well, you just said it, didn't you? Use it. I'm using it a lot.
I use this one. It's very seamless. There's a lot of decentralized applications integrating with Polygon. That's a very good thing. It's a very good thing. This is going to gain some traction. It's already got a really loud community to begin with, filled with people who are the get rich quick crowd. And, if this thing starts mooning, they'll get loud and that'll be great. But the fundamentals on this one are pretty strong. And this has been a very long-term accumulation. This is a very healthy chart, I'm well positioned in this one. I'm happy with this trade thus far, and not financial advice, but there's a few outliers in this market, and this to me is one of them as far as potential here. Okay,
very good. Now, just before I forget, I just want to ask anyone out there that has a paid subscription on CoinGecko, which I do, and worryingly, when I logged into it today, there were some pretty strange things happening on it. For example, Tether was listing as Wither, and the Ethernity chain, which we looked at earlier in the show, was coming up as Ethereum chain or something. It was a completely bloody different name. I'm a little bit concerned that what the hell's going on there. If anyone else has that subscription, if you could let me know whether you've had similar issues there. It was also in Turkish.
I don't pay CoinGecko. I pay TradingView.
Right. I pay them both. But I'll be cancelling my CoinGecko if I cannot figure out what the hell happened there. Feels like it was hacked.
Could be. Or like just could be sloppy code upgrade. Who knows?
Making Tether.
Maybe you're playing
Wither
with a VPN.
Seems like a bit of a joke to me.
Wither.
I don't like those sort of jokes. It's something I pay for. Take very seriously.
Well, maybe that's what you're paying for. Intel. You got to put the puzzle pieces together. Tether's done, man. It's going to wither away. They're giving you a signal.
Look, I had a long chat actually with some very smart guys who are playing the sort of integration of blockchain with the traditional finance world. And, these guys are talking 7-8 digit figures. They're up to some big stuff in the space. And I had a good chat with them about my concerns with regards to Tether. Would it take this market down? Basically Tether has always been a concern since I've been in this market. I believe they've only sort of proven cash assets supporting the 70 billion in Tether of about 2.5%. The rest are in notes. So in other words, they've invested in a lot of crypto projects. Now, these guys didn't seem overly concerned of any sort of impending explosion of Tether. And even if it were to fail, I think their thoughts were it would be quickly replaced by the other stable coins, etc. Do you have any thoughts? Do you really, this Tether FUD? Not that I want to start. You worried?
Yeah, I'm not particularly worried because I'm already on high alert for a little bit of a downtrend, regardless. So if Tether unwound, that would be the narrative for a bear market, right? Yeah. I'm already on high alert for indicators that would flip this market from bullish to bearish.
Yep.
So for me, I don't really focus a ton on news. For me, I don't really focus a ton on the rumor mill as to what's going on. The chart will show me, okay, this happened, it's time to get out. In regards to Tether, like, it is a cryptocurrency, and I want to know how it's minted and burned. If it's algorithmically minted and burned, if it's under collateralized, that's going to result in a penalty to the company. It's not going to result in Tether losing peg. If it's an algorithmically pegged stablecoin, whether it's owned by an entity or not, there's trust with Tether. People trust that Tether's worth $1. So even if Tether is sued, it doesn't necessarily mean that the peg will be lost on the cryptocurrency. Yeah. Bitfinex has paid a few fines now in regards to what's going on with their treasury with Tether. So I'm not 100% convinced that Tether will just, I don't think we'll just wake up one day and Tether will be gone and anybody who held Tether now holds nothing. I just, knock on wood, I just don't see that as one of the more probable outcomes. It is a possible outcome. I just don't weight it very high as one of the outcomes that would be very probable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I came away from that chat with some pretty smart cookies, less worried. I have been very concerned about Tether. I'm sure there'll be more Tether FUD in the coming months, but let's see. But look, I think we can wrap up today. Cycle. Yeah, I think we can wrap up today, Baloo, by as you say, you're on point, you're on edge, you're really looking closely now. This is the get serious part of the cycle, people. Many of you watching will have done well up to this point, but until you banked it, until you've got it in the stable or whatever exit strategy you're going to employ, it's or just paper gains. So take things seriously. Go to the show notes, follow Baloo in his Discord, watch his shows. This guy's straight up. We'll tell you like it is. Now, apologies, community. I see many of you here. Shout out to you all in one go. I'll be back tomorrow with Jesse and Leanne. But thank you very much, Baloo. Really enjoyed today's show. Lots of knowledge as always, my friend. I'll let you get back to your warm LA evening.
Yes, it's actually freezing here by Bali standards. What? I'm having to wear a frickin' hat, and I need to get some slippers. I'm a weak man now. I'm a weak man. I've been softened at 10 by
degrees
Bali.
Where I am. It's freaking freezing.
Yeah. Oh man, we use Fahrenheit over here, so I don't even know. It's like,
that would be about
the 50, mornings
55.
I think the mornings are it's not that cold. I'm just being a wimp. I'll get over it.
No, I mean where I am, it's about 55 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where I'm at, it's 70 and I'm being a wimp. That's room temperature. All right.
Okay.
Well, pleasure as always.
Yeah. Cheers, matey. Yeah, really enjoyed today's show, actually. Okay, everyone. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Go subscribe to Baloo. Make sure you follow him. This is the serious part of the market, people. Let's take it on together and do well. See you all next time. Thanks very much.